This is The Modern Lead Her Way.
The podcast for corporate career women who want to feel good on their way to the top. I'm Emma Clayton, and I'll be sharing with you tangible advice to help you stop sacrificing your soul in the name of success and experience more balance, confidence and fulfillment both in and out of work.
Hello and welcome back. Today I want to have a powerful conversation with you to look at one of the first things that I think we get to question when we realise that we were born a certain way and then life taught us, the world taught us how we should be, and we get to this point in our life when we realise that and understand that we actually get to make our own choices about what we believe, about what's important to us, about how we behave, about who we're becoming, because actually all that stuff that we've taken on up until now was not ours. So this is a beautiful moment in our lives that we come to this awareness that actually where we are right now is as a result of everything that's happened to us, everything we've done, all the experiences and everything. And we also get to decide what happens next. We get to step into the driving seat and absolutely choose how we see the world moving forwards. So it's at this point that we get to look at every area of our life and decide, is that who I really am? Do I really believe that? Or do I want to reject that piece, keep that, and just question this bit over here? And one of the first things that is really good to look at is how you've defined success up until now. What has been your definition of success? And was it really yours? So in one of the very first episodes, I talked about values. What's important to you? Because this is really telling. Right here, right now, this is what is hella important to me. And those values will be my kind of guiding principles for how I make decisions and how I move through this life. And it might not be something you've done before now, but now you know it, or when you come to know it because you go through the exercise, you can't unknow it, right? It's like, oh yeah. So I always like to start with values because it's a real present moment feel into what's important to me. And you will find that it's probably determined a lot of your decisions up until this point without you even knowing it. And moving forwards, you get to really intentionally make those decisions based on your values. And then I like to move on to this idea of success, because as an ambitious, career-driven woman, I know you want success, but have you ever actually stopped to look at how you define it and where that came from? Like what influenced that definition? And does that still ring true for you today? And it's got to start with me asking you this question. Like, how have you defined success to this point? What does success look like for you? And now let's just look at what success actually means. If we refer to the dictionary definition, it means the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So if you break it down, that could be like a specific aim, like I want success in, for example, this podcast. And what does that look like? Well, success for this podcast looks like a certain number of downloads within a certain number of days after an episode's released. Maybe it's a certain number of subscribers or a certain 5-star rating across the board. That would equal success. A common one amongst us wonderful women is weight loss, right? A certain dress size, something to do with our body. We will feel successful. We will feel like we have success in that area of our life when we reach a certain dress size or a number on the scale. Or perhaps it's more fitness related. So you will feel like you have success in the area of fitness when you can run 10K under 50 minutes. There is a specific aim, if you like. And then there's this like bigger life purpose. And what does success equals when you look at your life? And like I said before, you may never have considered this before, so don't worry if this feels difficult. But back to that question of how do you define success, let's just take a minute to think about it. And if it's helpful, let me give you some examples. For me, my definition of success, when I looked at it, when I took stock and just looked back, was largely material. And there's no judgment here if this is the same for you either, because, kind of what we do as a society. For me, it was the long distance holidays. I went to New Zealand, Australia, Argentina. I was flying business class. That was a marker of success in my life. Of course, there was an underlying number that I wanted for my salary, and that was in the six figures. And I certainly wanted to be earning a certain amount for my bonuses as well, which required me to be like a high performer year in, year out. I also wanted to get to a director level role, which meant that I needed a promotion. And then it was things like driving a brand new Range Rover Evoque. These were all markers of success for me. And for other people, I hear things like, well, I want to pay my mortgage off before I'm 50. I want to retire my husband so that he doesn't have to work in his crappy job. So if you were just to pause for a moment, I invite you to physically pause this episode while you give it some thought. Sit in your own kind of mind and just reflect and think about some of your markers of success when you think about life and what has made your life a success today, for example, or what you're striving for today. And then let's just take a minute to break it down a bit more and see if this still rings true today. So when I look at some of those examples I shared earlier, actually what I hear is a lot of external factors, things that revolve around money. So money equals success in a lot of people's lives. Money and status, if you think about the fact that I wanted a certain title in my role, that was a status factor. And then there's all the material factors that I mentioned as well. So these may well come into your current definition of success, and there is no problem with that. But what we want to do is go, is that it, or is there more to it? So how do you define success today? What does success equals for you? And then do a little bit of a sense check on that. Does that still feel good for you? Or could there be more to it? And then if you decide that actually, I want to look at this and just define it on my terms today. I don't want to carry this version of success that my parents handed down to me. I kind of want to look at my own version right now. How do you do that? Where do you start? And I think what we do naturally as tribal creatures is we look to others, right? We look at other people that we deem as successful and we say, what is it about them that we deem successful? And is that something that I would like? And I don't think there's anything wrong with this because, like I said, it's a very natural, instinctive thing that we do as human beings. And I want to offer you this idea that when you see something in someone else that maybe sparks a little bit of jealousy or envy, that maybe makes you want what they have, that can be a really big clue to what it is that you desire in your own life. And let's just take this sense check a step further and check in with, is that really something that you want in your life? Or are you just inspired by that person and what they've created in their life? Because that's okay too, right? We can look at her over there and go, look at the success she's created in her life. And it looks like A, B, C or X, Y, Z. And that's inspiring. And I don't want that for myself. I actually don't want that for myself. When I check in, does that feel good to imagine myself with that level of success, having done what she's done to achieve it? It's okay if it's a no. If it's a no from me, you can still admire from afar. You can still be inspired by someone else's greatness. You don't have to want what they have. You don't have to want to replicate what they've done to get what they have to equal success in your life. So by all means, look at others. But please, what we're doing differently here is deciding for ourselves. We're choosing what feels good for us. And it's not based on somebody else's idea of what success looks like, but it's based on our vision of our future. So the other angle I want to encourage you to look at this at, in terms of like, what does your future definition of success look like if we now know what your definition up till this point looks like, and we know there's more to it. I want to encourage you to look beyond what it looks like, what things you see in someone's life that's successful, the house, the things, the cash in the bank, the clothes they wear, the handbags, the shoes, that kind of thing. And think about, or should I say, feel into how success feels. There you go, I said it. I brought the feelings into the conversation. And here's the thing, right? I can't preach that I want you to feel good on your way to the top if we don't talk about what feeling good feels like. Because your feeling good may be very different to my feeling good. Apologies if you can hear seagulls in the background. As part of what living on the southeast coast brings is the seagull sound, which is rather annoying when you're interrupted mid-flow. But, you know, if I think about one of my friends, her feel good is finding a music venue with thousands of people that are jumping up and down and sweating, but they are grooving to the loud tunes. That is so far from my own definition of feel good. For me, feel good is more peaceful. So success equals calm, peace, quiet. And not just in my space, in my home, in my relationships, but in my own mind, right? It's peace of mind, literally. It's contentment, and I feel fulfilled. Now, if you're sitting there and wondering, you know, what does success feel like for you? I'm not really sure, I'm into this feeling game. I invite you to look at what you don't want to feel, because this is so much easier for us to grasp. So for me, success doesn't equal stressful, tired. It doesn't equal difficult or hard work. So from that place, I can kind of flip those things that it doesn't feel like, right? So if I flip those, what does it feel like? It probably feels like ease in my body. It feels easeful. So give that a go. Try that on for size. And then the other thing I really like to do to help you kind of tap into this true natural nature of yours and what you truly want from life, from that big old life purpose and vision, is to imagine yourself sat on a veranda in a rocking chair at the ripe old age of 95, looking out across your land, or whatever it is, whatever that picture is. Picture it. Who are you? Who's around you? What's around you? How do you feel? What are you doing? How are you spending your time? What's important to you? What are you proud of? What does success look like when you're 95? Because this will give you some big, big clues as to what it is that it's all for. And what do you have as a result of your success, right? Beyond the material, beyond the number in the bank. Like, what else do you have? Is it time? Time to spend with your loved ones, quality time to spend with your loved ones, time to spend on your own body and fitness and health. Maybe it's your health. Maybe you're 95 and you're sprightly as anything, you're still quite mobile, you have no medication that you're on because you're the picture of health at a 95-year-old. Maybe that is your vision of success. That is your definition of success. Is that you're healthy, you have time on your hands, and perhaps you feel happy and content. So I invite you to sit there and just really examine what your definition is currently. It's got you to this point, right? It's done good. But is it really yours? Is it time to just look at it, tweak it, check in with whether or not it feels good and is leading you to ultimately what it is that you want? And then I would love to hear what your definition of success is now. Or if you want to go deeper into this conversation and scroll right back, look at what's really important to you in terms of those values that are unique to you, that are going to inform your decisions moving forward and are going to help you really look at what this definition of success means for you, then I have an invitation for you. Oh, well, I have two actually. So at the time of recording, I do still have a few tickets left for my next Time Out retreat, which is on Saturday, the 1st of February 2025. So if you can join us in Margate, Kent, then follow the link in the show notes. And this is where we are going to just take a beautiful day out together. You're going to step away from that chaos and step into the calm of the Margate Beach House in Kent, UK. And we're going to take care of the rest. You're going to have some beautiful, nourishing food and drinks throughout the day. It's going to be a really slow pace. We're going to really get you out of your head, connect you into your body. And you're going to be around like-minded women who are there really just to take that sacred time out for themselves, to really go deep and intentionally set up their year for success, but success on their own terms. So if you fancy joining us, Margate, I would love to see you in person. I would love to give you that real in-person squeeze and look after you for the day, for a beautiful day. You'll find the link in the show notes. And if you are not local or you can't make the 1st of February, fear not, because what I've decided to do is a New Year virtual Time Out retreat. So I'm going to be running my usual New Year revolution over the sort of New Year period, which is going to really support you in reflecting on the year, on reviewing what went well, what didn't go so well, and really informing how you want to kind of set those intentions moving into the new year. And then we're going to sit down and we're going to look at revealing what's really important to you through those values and redefining success on your terms in the virtual Time Out retreat. So obviously this won't be happening in person, it will be happening online. It will be over a couple of hours early on in the new year, really just to give you that time out to really focus on yourself, to really focus on being intentional moving into the new year. This is not setting resolutions. The whole point of the New Year revolution is we are rebelling against that bullshit, and we are showing up for ourselves in a more powerful, genuine, authentic way that's really going to powerfully inform your year ahead. So if you'd like to join us for the virtual retreat, you'll also find the link to that in the show notes below. And I really hope to see you at one of those events, because they really are not just powerful, but also beautiful in terms of like really reconnecting you to what's important for you. And who doesn't want a bit of that? Otherwise, we're just past another 12 months and nothing changes and we are on autopilot and all the things. So yeah, I encourage you to get yourself on one of those events if you can. Even if the virtual retreat has passed by the time you come to listen to this, you can still get the replay. So you can sign up for it in advance or after the date and get the replay and still like get yourself in those time out vibes. Absolutely, I encourage you to also do that in your own time. In the meantime, I feel we are done here today. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and tuning in. And until next time, take care.